Warning, this podcast does not introduce any new information outside the Foundation's curriculum. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey there, Central Liners. Welcome to a new episode of Real Doctors, Real Friends, the official podcast of Foundations of Medicine. I am your host, Roshan, along with my partner in medical education, Shereen.
Hi, everyone.
Congratulations on completing week 9 of Foundations. We are definitely introducing more complex clinical concepts now, which is challenging, but you've got this. Keep up the great work.
Our theme this week was hematology. Sometimes this field doesn't get as much attention as the major body systems, but learning about blood is essential because it affects every single cell and integrated body function.
That's absolutely true. When you really think about it, blood flows through our arteries, delivering oxygen and nutrients, and transporting waste like carbon dioxide to the organs responsible for removal, such as the lungs, kidneys, and liver. It interacts with every cell via the capillary network.
Blood maintains the constancy of the internal environment, helping to regulate things like pH, plasma osmolarity, temperature, and blood glucose. We learned this week that blood is actually considered a specialized fluid connective tissue because it's composed of formed elements like red cells, white cells, and platelets, and intercellular matter, which is the plasma.
Exactly. Blood is dynamic and ever-changing. Beyond transporting substances and maintaining homeostasis, blood also helps protect us from infection and prevents blood loss through hemostasis, while facilitating tissue repair. All these functions require the cellular and plasma components to work together.
Speaking of crucial cellular components, this week we dove deep into transfusion medicine, learning about all those different parts of blood we can transfuse, like red blood cells, platelets, plasma, and recombinant protein products. Red blood cell transfusion increases the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood and is indicated in patients with anemia who have evidence of impaired oxygen delivery. Platelets are used for treating patients with bleeding due to severely decreased or dysfunctional platelets.
And ensuring safety is paramount. That brought us to the essential steps involved in pre-transfusion testing. We first perform a type and screen. The type component determines the ABO and RHD or RHD blood group, meaning which antigens are on the patient's red cells, forward group, and which antibodies are in the plasma, reverse group.
Right, and the screen part looks for non-ABO red cell antibodies in the patient's plasma. These antibodies often form if the patient has been exposed to foreign red cell antigens through a previous transfusion or pregnancy.
The final check of compatibility is the cross-match. If that antibody screen is negative, we can proceed quickly with an electronic cross-match or what's called a fast cross-match, which takes less than 5 minutes because there is no physical mixing of donor and recipient blood.
But if the antibody screen is positive, indicating the presence of unexpected antibodies against a non-ABO antigen, that adds significant time to the process of getting blood because we then need a serologic cross-match or slow cross-match to ensure compatibility.
We also saw how important proper management is, especially for complex chronic diseases like sickle cell disease. Grace's story really highlighted the systemic barriers and implicit bias these patients face, particularly when seeking pain management during a vaso-occlusive crisis, also referred to as a vaso-occlusive episode.
It's frustrating because recurrent vaso-occlusive episodes are the main complication of our SCD patient and of their experience. It often lands them in the emergency department. Grace felt judged for requesting opioid pain medications, sharing sentiments as if I'm a drug addict, reflecting the need for clinicians to address systemic racism and inequities.
That's why advocacy and quality improvement initiatives are so vital in hematology. QI is a systematic, data-based approach to improve patient care. For SCD, or sickle cell disease, implementing the Sickle Cell Wallet Card was a QI project aimed at providing an individualized plan for sickle pain crisis, improving the quality of care, and explicitly reducing implicit bias during acute visits.
The card gives emergency department doctors some guidance and lifts the burden of decision-making off their shoulders. though audits showed that while 70% of patients found the card helpful, only 60% of people actually showed it, often because they forgot or they were overwhelmed by pain. But as we said, even if it's imperfect, these initiatives are crucial steps in addressing inequity and achieving better patient outcomes.
It shows that even with the best intentions in medicine, ideas sometimes have limitations in day-to-day practice, which is why we must continually audit and adjust. Ultimately, the goal is always to provide comprehensive multidisciplinary care involving physicians, social workers, pharmacists, and others, especially for patients with such complex medical and psychosocial needs.
Definitely. The need for comprehensive care is especially highlighted when we consider the serious acute manifestations of sickle cell disease, such as acute vaso-occlusive episodes, acute chest syndrome, which is the number one cause of mortality, which leads to 25% of deaths in this case, and stroke. Timely intervention can save lives and prevent recurrent strokes.
So now, switching gears a little bit, before we get to our challenge, let's circle back to last week's poll.
Now, the challenge was you've purchased a bag of mini chocolate bars, in other words, the good stuff, as well as a bag of molasses toffees and candy corn, the divisive stuff that we're not really sure if we like or not. We'll discuss. Now, the problem is you run out of mini chocolate bars halfway through the night. What is your policy for distributing the remaining molasses toffees and candy corn to the incoming trick-or-treaters?
So 54% of our Central Liners listeners opted to implement the altruistic toffee and candy corn rule, drawing from ethics and justice. You give the divisive candy away, arguing that it is necessary for the common good of the neighborhood's sugar stockpile. You believe everyone must bear this small, unpleasant burden, our justice, to protect the kids who can't reach the good candy.
All right. Well, 46% of our listeners opted instead to enforce the presumptive peace protocol, drawing from communications. When a trick-or-treater comes to the door, you immediately place the molasses toffee or candy corn in their bag, stating, "Here's your treat." You avoid asking, "Do you want this?" Because a presumptive approach significantly increases the likelihood of acceptance.
I love AI. we definitely get some help this year from AI with our episodes and some episode scripts, and this is really on point. I will have to say though that I did buy a bag of candy corn, and it is just as good as I remembered it. So maybe I need to bring it in for next week. I don't know that. I don't know what sort of candy is going to be available for next week.
Yeah.
I suppose another option could be to institute the scarcity shift drawing from economics. You place the remaining molasses toffees and candy corn in a large bowl labeled rare vintage candy, dramatically announcing that they are now highly exclusive treats available only to those who answer a Halloween-themed riddle correctly.
Mm-hmm. That is a smart approach.
I think that's a great approach.
This last option is more my style.
I think so, yeah.
You could implement the house dark protocol as a form of risk management, where you turn off all lights, lock the door, and hide behind the sofa until November 1st, thereby avoiding any risk of distributing unacceptable candy.
That last option is definitely tempting, Shereen.
Yeah. Now for this week's test of friendship. What is an appropriate Halloween playlist? Does it include, for example, Halloween surfboard?
Oh, I am not into any of the Halloween songs.
No, what about Thriller? You've got to be.
I mean,
Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Monster Mash?
I'm weird this way.
I don't really like Monster Mash. I like the other ones, though.
Thriller's a classic. The Ghostbusters song.
Yeah, that one's fun.
So I guess my problem with it is it's hard for me to really enjoy the music outside of Halloween. And maybe that's the same reason I struggle with Christmas songs too.
Yeah.
Is that it's really hard for me to enjoy it outside of Halloween, which is why Thriller, I just don't think I like the Ghostbusters.
I guess it wasn't like the Thriller wasn't intended to be like a Halloween specific
song. It's definitely been used for Halloween. Honestly, the every time I think of Thriller, I think of the version that Tracy Morgan puts on in 30 Rock, which is not appropriate for us to talk about here. So that's the thing that always comes to my mind every time I think about Thriller, which tells you how much I think about Thriller. But what about you? Like, what sort of music is usually in your Halloween playlist?
So I would say I like to have some music on in the background when I give out candies.
Oh, I don't do that at all.
So I do like Thriller. I like the theme from the Halloween movies. Ooh. Ghostbusters. I like Somebody's Watching Me. I put that song. X-Files.
Wow.
Theme.
Wow.
You know, kind of put those on rotation. So when you open the door, it's kind of a Halloween theme.
And then the kids can say, what are these oldies on?
No, then they'll be really scared.
They'll be really scared.
Whoa, what is this?
What is this? I honestly don't know if at any point in time my kids will actually like some of the that's not true. Leo's really into Foo Fighters, so I have to see if he's going to be into any of these Halloween songs.
Yeah.
Is Tamer into any of the Halloween songs?
Yeah, he likes these. Actually, my niece is 3, and she loves Michael Jackson, and she loves Thriller.
Okay. Is she going to come around to your place for trick-or-treating this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have fun. She'll like that.
And then we got to figure out whether or not we're going to do costumes next week.
Yeah.
Because October 31st is right on Friday. So
that's true.
So not only for the podcast, but also for our weekly review, we have to figure out, because I feel like Will's going to do a costume next week for the weekly review. So I have to figure that out.
Have you decided what you're going to be yet?
No, because I still haven't figured out, because Leo won't settle down on what he wants to do.
Okay.
So that's fine. We'll figure it out.
I might be Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe then I need to be Elmo. I don't know. I have to find something last minute. Well, Central Liners, let us know your choices for a Halloween playlist, and we'll reveal the results next week.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a great weekend, Central Liners, and congratulations on completing week 9 of Foundations. Take care, everyone.